believe we are recording. What up, party people? What is going on? This is John from the Bad Movie Review podcast that I do with Vision, and trying something a little different, something, I guess, new. I actually haven't even brought up with Vision yet, but I'm sure he'll probably be cool with it. He's a lot busier than me, so that's why we can only get together and do these things about once, sometimes even once every 2 weeks. But I decided that I kind of want to try to do one of these reviews, a la our same formula on a solo tip. So I guess we can just call this the John movie review. I don't even know what I'm going to call it yet, but I think John movie review sounds pretty okay. That's the thing, because I watch a lot of movies, and I stumbled across a movie that I felt was pretty good, and it was also not really received, or I guess it kind of just fell through the cracks. It's a 2017 film called Shot Caller, and the name sounds really corny. I think the name really hurt it, but also I think they just didn't market it well. Didn't have any marketing at all. I mean, the only reason why I heard about it was because I think it was on a subreddit, one of the subreddits, and some people were like, "Yeah, what's a movie?" I think it was one of those ones where people are like, "What's a movie that I guess is awesome, but hasn't received any critical acclaim, or people kind of just didn't even talk about it?" And this is right up there. So it's a 2017 film, and it's by let's go over the cast, by director Rick Roman Waugh. Who is this guy, by the way? Rick Roman Waugh was born on February 20th, 1968 in Los Angeles. He is known for his work on Felon, 2008, Snitch, 2013, and That Which I Love Destroys Me, 2015. I guess he doesn't sound like he's an American, but I guess his parents are probably like first generation or something. So the movie Felon, actually I've never watched Felon, but the reviews look pretty good for it. It's 2008. Now Snitch was a movie that he did, The Rock was in it, and I did see this movie. It was about a truck driver. Basically, a father goes undercover for the DEA in order to free his son, who was in prison after being set up in a drug deal. So The Rock is like in a situation where he's got to save his son. I remember the movie being okay, but it wasn't really anything interesting to me at the time. I don't know. 2013, what was I doing back then? My head was in the right space. I was just like, I was all about that action. But this film, Shot Caller, 2017, I sat down and watched this movie, and I was pretty amazed. I was pretty impressed. Hence why I'm even deciding to bring this movie to light. It's 121 minutes long, and let me give you the storyline. A white-collar business professional, happily married, accidentally commits a crime. Sentenced to prison time, he must adjust and learn the ways of prison life. Throughout this, he struggles to do what's best for his family on the outside. The choices he makes in prison will have major repercussions, both to himself and his family, if he makes the wrong one. Hard. That's right, the hard life. Let's go over the cast real quick. Who's in this movie? And this is what makes the movie interesting. It's the guy from Game of Thrones, Jaime Lannister. His real name is Nikolaj Coster-Waldau. I probably mispronounced that really wrong, but he's a really good actor. He carries the entire film, and he definitely holds up. Then you have Jon Bernthal he was in The Wolf of Wall Street. He's also the Punisher on Netflix. He's in a lot of cool movies, and he's a really good actor. So he's also in this film. And then you have, let's see, who else is in this? That's actually memorable. You have Jesse Tram, but no, she's not a. She had a bit part. Who's the other chick? There's a chick that plays his wife in the movie. Lake Bell. Lake Bell's in this as well. And I have no idea what else she was in, but she's done a lot of like romantic comedies. I think that's about it for the cast. There's a lot of like unknown characters in this movie, but they all did a good job. The cast was pretty well done. A lot of unknown names, but they definitely held it down. Good job on their part. So, how did I hear about this movie? I didn't. Obviously, I told you earlier from a Reddit post. And I'm always like fishing for new movies, movies that may, uh, I'm always looking for new stuff. I guess, this is why we even started this podcast. I'm a movie fanatic. I watch everything. Only now, if it sucks, I'll either watch the whole thing while I'm doing something else, just because, for the principle of the matter, or I'll just stop watching it. I'll just turn it off. And this movie was not that case, obviously. What did I think? Let's just get into that. I thought that it was really well done. Like, it's 121 minutes, almost a 2 hour movie. 2 hours, I guess 121 minutes. Yeah, that's a little bit over 2 hours, but it's a 2 hour movie. And the entire time you get sucked into it. I mean, maybe the first 10 minutes, you're kind of like, that's your typical run of the mill. But the way that they edit the movie, it's pretty cool. Like, they did a really good job. And, they add like their own little, because they do a lot of flashbacks, but the way that they did it, it works. Like, it's not anything, it's pretty original the way they did this. Because most of these flashback movies, they do the flashback first, and then, they show you how he was, or whatever the character, and then they'll go into like, what's he's doing? What is he doing now? And this movie goes back and forth. It just doesn't give you everything from the beginning. It kind of opens up with how he already is, and then little by little they kind of give you tidbits of like what happened and why. But the way that they sprinkle that in there, it works. Currently, right now on IMDb, it has a 7.4. On Rotten Tomatoes, the critic review is 63%, and the audience score is a 79%. So the audience really liked it. The critics, and we'll get to the critics in a second, in terms of what they thought. I don't really know how long this I'm going to shoot this for, but I'll just do it until I'm tired of talking, and then I'll just upload it to the YouTubes. Probably won't put this on SoundCloud because we have a SoundCloud, but I'm probably just going to do this little experiment just for YouTube. Get some more content on there. Our YouTube channel it's pretty new, obviously. But yeah, so in terms of this movie, though, I thought that everybody did a good job. It's a very rated R film, and I mean, his acting, the main character's acting, is awesome. Really great job, Nikolai Coster-Waldau, whatever. I guess he's going to start doing more movies because Game of Thrones season 7 is about to finish this summer, so this guy's starting to get more gigs, obviously. There's another really good movie that he's in. I'm going to pull it up right now that I want to recommend to you guys. I saw it a couple of years ago, and it basically put him on. This is like right at the beginning of Game of Thrones, but it was a movie that he made in his own, wherever he's from. Let me see if it says where they're from. It's a movie called Headhunters, though, and yeah, it's 2011. Check it out. He's like the bad guy in this movie, and it's a pretty good movie. It's obviously is he Swedish or something, or he's Norwegian, but it's in that language, so you have to read the subtitles, or maybe you can get a dubbed version. But I honestly, the movie was so good that like I didn't have any issue reading the subtitles. The reason why I say that is because I was on a previous podcast I talked about watching the new Godzilla movie, or the 2016 version. It was a Japanese remake. And the Japanese guys who did Evangelion and all those animation type stuff, they remade the Godzilla movie, and it was amazing. It was dope, but the only issue was having to read the subtitles. And there were so many fast cuts and everything. It's obviously an action-packed movie. I mean, it's action-packed, but there's a lot of scenes where like it's just talking and like fast cuts of just going from character to character and then building the suspense and then talk. So you're sitting there and you're just like you're reading for your life. You just gotta read this shit. Oh my god, I want to keep up. Uh, Fantastic movie, but yeah, it sucks when you have to read subtitles. Like I'd rather just focus on not having to read the subtitles, especially when it's like really fast cuts. But whatever. Yeah, and that proves my other point. If it's a really good movie, it won't matter. Like subtitles can't stop a movie from from someone from enjoying a movie because it's just that good. So yeah, so check out Headhunters 2011. Um, Good movie. But we are talking about Shot Caller right now. So basically, yeah, that name just messed up the entire movie because it sounds like a really cheesy, like B movie, Shot Caller. But his acting in this, it definitely holds the whole film down. And then like there's a twist at the end, and it works. It all works out. I like the way that this director did his thing, and I think that like out of all his other movies, I haven't seen this 2008 one called Felon, but compared to the Rock movie called Snitch or whatever that he made, this movie's way more involved. Like you're sucked in. Like you care about the characters more. Not to say that The Rock is a bad actor or whatever, but I just feel like the script in the other movie it didn't hold up as much as this movie as the script in this movie. So I give this guy props. The director, he wrote and directed it as well. So let's go into the reviews. I want to read a couple of the negative reviews about it and kind of try to rebuttal and see if they actually had the right idea. But for 63%, that's pretty low. That's for what this movie was. Let's see what they say. Let's see. We have Ben Kenigsberg from the New York Times. Shot Caller effectively conveys the vice grip of Jacob's options, but that doesn't make it less ludicrous from scene to scene. I don't know. Let me click on this. Oh, cool. Prison hardens. Okay, so there's an actual review here. Because usually when you click on these reviews for Rotten Tomatoes, the movie's really old. Like it's just like a dead link. But I guess this movie is really new, so I can actually go into and read the actual review. It's like 3 paragraphs, nothing crazy. 3 or 4 paragraphs. Let's see what he says. To prove that thesis, Shot Caller stretches anything well beyond credulity, involving yet trivializing the movie unfolds as a would-be Breaking Bad of the prison genre. I guess you could say that. Let me see here. I'll just read the last part. Shot Caller interweaves before and after timelines, toggling between Jacob's initiation and his life after release. A decade later, as a tattooed, muscular ex-con, Shot Caller effectively conveys the vice grip of Jacob's actions, but that doesn't make... What is this guy even trying to say? He basically explains the movie, but then he just gives it like a rotten rating without even explaining himself. Like literally in this New York Times review, he explains what the movie's about, and then I'm wondering if that's like a different, because you click on the New York Times, but then that's weird. All right, let's go to the next guy. New York Times, good job. All right, this one is from Edward Porter from the Sunday Times. I don't mind that it's all improbable, but it's also quite dull. What are you talking about, bro? What are you talking about? So this article, this guy reviews like 8 movies, and he puts them all together. I gotta say, it must be the coolest job to be a movie reviewer. This guy right here for the Sunday Times. Film reviews: Ferdinand, The Prince of Nothingwood, Bingo, Mountains Made Apart, Mountain, The Unseen, and Shot Caller. This guy reviews all these things, and I think he adds them all in this one little paragraph. This is insane. Let me see here. Does he? Oh, no, this is a paid. If I want to read more, I have to get access. That's a sign in. All right, this is bullshit. Well, I'm not going to read further than that. Let's see here. We got Rich Klein from contactmusic.com. By emphasizing the character's thuggishness and thuggishness over anything more nuanced, filmmaker Rick Roman Waugh seems to betray the fact that he thinks brutality is inherently entertaining. Oh, okay. Let's see here. So I guess every type of movie set in prison should be anything but, positive. Or I guess in his, he wants it to be like brutal. You want to make prison look cool. Oh, cool. So I clicked on the link and it actually has the article. Let's see. I'll try to find a little tidbit for you guys. It tries to get at what he's getting at by intercutting. There's still some subtext to undercut the excessively macho atmosphere. And while the central message is seriously shaky, you need to be a code to survive in this nasty world, there's a driving energy to the film that never lets go. Okay, it's funny, he gave it a rotten, but he obviously says that it had some sort of effect. I don't understand why these guys are just ripping on this thing. Give me some better argument here, bro. But he clearly has a plan now. I'm telling you, like, this movie was flawlessly done. Like, you'll watch the entire movie. And I'm wondering, but I'm only reading the, actually, let me read some positive ones. This is from Matthew Bond, The Mail on Sunday, UK. Stuntman turned filmmaker Rick Roman Waugh, who writes and directs, keeps the whole thing on track in a way that would impress even more if he hadn't already gone. If he hadn't already had one go at the subject with the 2008 film Felon. Yeah, so I mean, 2008 all the way to 2017, he must have had this script like just chilling, and he must have been like, doing redrafts and rewrites because it's a pretty, dialogue is great, characters connect really well. Let's read another one real quick. Let's do Time Out. It's a New York magazine from Philip DeSemlin. If you imagine Andy Dufresne embarking on a hyper-vomit gangland crime spree, you've got the premise of this thriller about the corrosive power of prison. Oh, that's pretty cool. Andy Dufresne, who's that? Who is that from? Andy Dufresne. Can't remember. Let me look it up real quick. Andy Dufresne. Andy Dufresne. Come on, oh, there it is. It's spelled all weird. Dufresne's. Oh, okay. He's talking about the guy from Shawshank Redemption. Yeah, I mean, it's similar to that, but it has obviously, I mean, he suffers in a different manner, but it works. Definitely works. So, how much time are we at? I don't even know. Let me even check. Maybe not. Okay, I guess not. So yeah, I just want to give you guys a little self review, the John review of Rick Roman Waugh's 2017 film Shot Caller. I mean, it's a film we probably have never even reviewed this one, which is why I just want to throw this in there. This is something that we probably this is a movie that, like, for the most part we probably overlook, but it is pretty entertaining. So I think for our future direction, we're going to be doing more controversial movies, obviously more movies that get more clicks. And I'm hoping for movies like this, maybe hopefully Vision wants to do this as well on his own time if he feels the inclination. I'm obviously going to try to pump these out some more as well. I mean, don't get me wrong, we're still going to do joint podcasts, but sometimes you just want to get a review off your mind and record it and throw it up on YouTube. So hey, so cool. But hope you guys enjoyed it. If you guys have any input, did you like this movie? Oh yeah, real quick, let me do if I think that it deserves the rating that it got. Well, the audience score I think is on point. Audience liked it. And granted, I critique movies like crazy. Like sometimes audiences get it wrong, but in this case, they got it right. Uh, as far as the critic reviews, I don't know why I got this low of a rating. I think the critics are wrong. It deserves at least like a 70, 75. The audience gave it 79, but yeah, I could see that. 75, 80, something around there. It definitely deserves up there. So on this one, the audience got it correct. It's up to you critics getting it wrong. But yeah, like, share, subscribe. This is a pretty new channel, so we're still getting off the ground. We're still putting things in the works. And yeah, if you guys go crazy for movies like we do, definitely let us know in the comments section. Did you think that this movie was bad or that bad or good? So yeah, all right. Talk to you guys on that next one. Peace.